Hey everybody, today we're going to be talking about how to use Monroe's motivated sequence to structure our persuasive presentations. So up until this point, we've been focused on following the speech outline format that has a very basic 3 main point part structure, and we've been trying to become a little bit more comfortable presenting our speeches and with our own personal goals. For the next speeches, our goals are going to be to add delivery, flow, and connection to these components while having a fluid, persuasive presentation. So for the next speech, you're encouraged to utilize Monroe's motivated sequence. This is a 5-part step involving attention, need, satisfaction, visualization, and action. We're going to look at all of these a little bit more in depth. The first step is attention. So this will include a longer attention getter, but it will also include the other introductory components that we still need. So your goal with this step is to gain the audience's attention. This speech should be more dramatic, or this introduction should be more dramatic, longer, and more in depth than your past attention getters and introductions. So I'm going to give you an example by using my dog Baxter for how you could create a Monroe's motivated sequence type speech to persuade your audience about dog adoptions. So if I wanted to start with my attention step for Monroe's motivated sequence, I could start out with a story about my dog, and I would probably make it really dramatic with my voice and the way that I presented it. So here we go. On the streets of Salinas, there was a shaggy, unkempt dog wandering around. He was getting food from the back of restaurants and dumpsters. He was covered in burrs, ticks, and his nails dragged on the cement. This is his picture, and this is him now. And I would continue to talk about my credibility, having gone to the local animal shelter to adopt him. I would create a thesis talking about, today we will cover the problem of why there's so many dogs who don't get adopted, how you can adopt, and what the world would look like if we were all to take action on this. And I would also address why the audience should listen and why it's important to pay attention. So, moving right ahead with Baxter's story as the premise for my speech. Step 2 is need, and this is main point 1. In this point, you're describing the problem and why we need to make a change. So this is your first point, main point, and you want to not necessarily just, address why this is happening. You want to get in depth with some research. You want to have outside sources. You want to give the audience some context. You can also refer to your last speech. So for example, you'll have just finished speech 2, and you can address what information you shared with us in that speech that connects to this speech now. So really the goal here is framing the problem and then addressing why we need to do something differently about it, but really focusing on, what's happening, why is it a problem? So for example, I might start out my first main point 1 saying, sadly, Baxter's story is not unique, and in fact, Baxter is one of the lucky ones. According to the ASPCA, about 6.5 million pets enter shelters every year, and not all of them find homes. 1.5 million pets are euthanized to make space for incoming pets if they have gone unadopted for too long. The problem is that there are simply too many animals in need of homes. Stereotypes and bad reputations keep some dogs from finding homes, while other people simply prefer designer-bred dogs. All the while, most dogs are purchased from breeders, while dogs are put down daily in shelters. Not enough people get their dogs spayed or neutered, which exacerbates the problems. So you can see it's like this is the main issue. We're addressing that there is this need to take action because there is this problem that's ongoing. So that's main point 1. Moving right into main point 2 would be step 3, or satisfaction. So it's not enough to just say there's this problem, there's all these things going on. You have to tell us, okay, what can we do about it? What is going to basically be the solution? So in this step, you're proposing a solution to the problem that you just addressed in your last main point. And it should be clear, easy to follow, and we should really just know what to do. So here's an example. There is a simple solution to this problem. It only involves 2 steps: spay and neuter your pets and shop at shelters first. Adopting from a shelter costs substantially less, and most shelters offer free spay and neuter programs. All we need to do is start talking to our families and friends about the benefits of adopting over designer dogs, and they are numerous. From costs, saving lives, less health problems, and longer lives, adopting is the way to go. Obviously, you can see I would go a little bit more in depth, but you get a sense that you're really trying to be persuasive and putting forward what your solution is. Step 4, visualization. This is your third main point, and it sounds a little bit corny, but basically you're trying to tell us how amazing the world would be if we were to take action on the solution that you already proposed. So why should we take action on the solution? You have to tell us. So show us why it's beneficial to enact the solution and tell us how great the world will be if we take action. So example, just think about what might have happened to poor Baxter if there wasn't enough funding to run the shelters. Think about what might have happened if he hadn't been adopted. This is the fate of many cats and dogs alike who simply don't get adopted and they are put down. We can make the world a better and happier place for all pets if we only adopt shelter pets. No longer will dumpsters be filled with euthanized pets whose only crime was wanting a loving home. You can be that difference. We can all be the difference in the life of the animals in this world. So, like I said, it gets a little bit corny, but you can see how we're being pretty persuasive here. So, step 5, this is your conclusion, also called your call to action. So it still has the conclusion items. You're still reiterating what the main points were that you addressed, and you're still going to leave us thinking. You're going to include items that keep us thinking about the topic, tell us where to go, how to get started. But really, basically your audience should be in the place of, oh my gosh, this is such a big problem. I love dogs. What can I do to help them? So you want to let them know in this stage, and you want to make sure your audience knows exactly what they should be doing and how they can have an impact. For this portion of the speech, you want to make sure that your claim is clear, easy to act on, and it's obvious how this action has an impact. We're going to address the science of persuasion techniques right after this, and those are some of the things that you can use here as well. So an example, call to action or action conclusion step that I could say would be, I don't know about you, but I don't want to be part of a world that euthanizes innocent animals. I want to be part of the solution. The best part is that the solution is easy. All you need to do is tell your family and your friends. The more people understand the importance of adopting and spaying and neutering their pets, we can alleviate this problem. Next time one of your family or friends wants to get a pet, encourage them to go to a shelter and tell them about all the good that it will do. If you want to go a step further, you can also donate to the ASPCA. You get to pick the amount that you donate and know that you are helping the animals. And I would probably address a little bit more, maybe saying about some local places that you could go to, and I would also be sure to reiterate what my main points were. So that was a brief overview of those steps. In Canvas, you also have an example outline, and there's also a web link that has a little bit more detail on how to utilize Monroe's motivated sequence. But ultimately, the things that I want you to remember are these 5 steps. This one acts as your introduction. This acts as main point 1. This is main point 2, main point 3, and this is your conclusion. And so this outline should be pretty easy for you all to use, and it helps make your speech a lot more persuasive, easier for the audience to follow along with. And that's it for today. So continue on to watch the Science of Persuasion video and then answer the questions in Canvas.